mic do you have? Do you have a wired one?
Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. I want to go to the test, 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 test. Thank you, Brian.
One time. Yeah, right, okay, we're back on the air. One of the counselors started F-bombing citizens. When vending machine. Can you get to run it? Everybody ready?
Actually, I'm not.
We have Ryan.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Great, thanks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council meeting. This is a regularly scheduled council meeting. I will call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, July 14th, 2020. The time is 5:30 p.m. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Baraboo.
Present.
Friedlieb.
Present.
Baranzelli.
Present.
Johnson.
Here.
Beyondich. Carlsen.
Present.
Cuffey.
Present. We have a full agenda today. Before we go to the Pledge of Allegiance, just to note for the general public that our city attorney, Brian Lindsay, is here. Also, we have representatives from Carlsen, Pat Wirtz, and Steve Trudeau, and from the architects record, Eric Wedge, and our city clerk, Pamela Bean, and our Park and Rec director, Brian Silver. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is the public forum. Is there anyone in the audience? We do not have any guests and visitors today. We're conducting this meeting in the North Room at the Miners Memorial Building due to a fire at City Hall. So there's no one to speak and want to come tonight at the public forum. We'll move to item 5 on the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the City of Virginia requests that the items be considered separately. Item 5.1, the approval corrections of the minutes of the regular meeting that was held on June 23rd, 2020, and the special meeting that was held on June 23rd, 2020. Item 5.2 is the adoption of Finance Resolution number 20-013, the schedule of bills. Item 5.3, approve pay estimate number 6 for the Midway Drive Improvement Project in the amount of $77,223.38. Item 5.4, approve the following pay estimates to Kraus Anderson. 5.5A, pay estimate number 1 for the Miners Event and Convention Center, $68,084.98. 5.4B, pay estimate number 1 for the Ewens Field redevelopment in the amount of $747,265.56. And item 5.4C, pay estimate number 2 and final for the Ewens Field Stadium demolition, and we need to adopt the resolution for that. These are the items that are on the consent agenda today, and I'm looking for a motion from the council.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as documented.
Council Friedlieb moves to approve the the consent agenda for approval. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Baranzelli. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
I'd like to pull 5.3 for a question, please.
Okay, item 5.3 is requested by Councilor Johnson to pull and remove for further discussion. All those in favor of the rest of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. 5.3, approve pay estimate number 6 for the Midway Drive Improvement Project in the amount of $77,223.38. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Are we close to final payment on that bridge? Is this one more after this maybe, or do we know?
It says 100%, so this must be final payment.
So this should say final pay estimate 6. If we could adjust that so that it's documented accordingly, I appreciate
I will
that.
verify that with our engineer. but-
Pardon me?
I will verify that with the engineer.
Okay, then I will move 5.3 for approval.
Okay, 5.3, after further discussion, move for approval. Is there support?
All support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, appearances. We have no one scheduled to appear before the council this evening. Hang on.
Do we need a resolution to approve on item 5.4C?
Pam,
I think I can just use the motion, or the,
do you want a
Hold on.
special,
Moved it.
oh, you want a special approval?
do you want to have a special? Okay.
Okay, well, let's look at adopting the resolution under item 5.4C. We did approve the pay estimate demolition, but we need to adopt the resolution, so we're looking for a separate motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a motion?
I will so move, Mayor, that we adopt a resolution, final demolition of the Ewens Field for $14,628.65.
Motion by Councilor Bearable to move the resolution. Is there support?
Support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilor Bearable. There's no appearances scheduled. We have no one from the general public here to speak this evening. So we'll move to item 7, which is unfinished business. We have conducted all of our business. We have no unfinished business from the previous week. We'll move to item 8, discussion items. Item 8.1, adopt a resolution to approve the hiring of Jody Carlsen Oski as the new library director for the city of Virginia.
I will move the resolution for Jody.
Moved to approve the appointment of Jody Carlsen Oski as our new library director by Councilor Johnson. Is there support? Support. Support by Councilor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. We interviewed 3 very highly qualified candidates at least twice, and it was a tough decision, but we are getting a very highly qualified individual in this position, and I'm very excited what she's going to be doing for the library as well as for the community in general.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Sorry, opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard, Jody Carlsen Oski. So when does she start? Sherry?
She passes her background and pre-employment physical.
Okay, very good, thank you. Soon. Okay, move to item 8.2, which is adopt a resolution for the Bailey's Lake Trail easements. And does anyone need an explanation about what those easements are? Brian? Do you have any information about the easements with respect to this?
Mayor can give just some brief information about what exactly it is we're needing to do here. I have sent out some easements and some requests for response from the property owners affected by those easements. And I know that the city has reached out to those property owners in the past. This is kind of our third last effort in order to work with these property owners. And this is unfortunately a more stern way of working with these property owners. Essentially what we're doing is the city is exercising its eminent domain authority by undertaking what's known as a quick take, which means we can truncate the process for possession purposes a certain amount just by giving proper notice to the property owners that we intend to take possession after a waiting period has elapsed, and thereafter we can take the possession and start working.
Thank you, Brian. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you. And none of these are areas that aren't already being utilized? Is that my understanding, that that's where the trail already is?
Correct. These are all areas that were identified where the legal right to the property has to be at a minimum short up a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Councilor Johnson. So I'm looking for a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Bearable. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.3 is adopt a resolution for the issuance of general obligation sales tax revenue bonds, Series 2020B, and this is for the Miners Memorial Building project. Councilor Bearable.
I will so move the resolution for the sales tax obligation general revenue bond for the Miners Memorial Complex.
Moved by Councilor Bearable. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.4, authorize entering into a contract with Carlsen Anderson for the MEC bid package number 2 and recommended alternates for a guaranteed maximum price of $16,538,695.60. And there was some significant discussion at committee level about that. We had a very comprehensive presentation by Steve Trudeau and Pat Wirtz from Carlsen Anderson, along with our architectural consultant of record and Eric Wedge. So what is the councilor's pleasure moving forward with this item 8.4?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to enter into the contract with Carlsen Anderson for the MEC Bid Pack 2 as recommended with the alternates.
Thank you. Moved by Councilor Freelieb to move this forward. Is there support?
I'll support for discussion, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Bearable for discussion. Further discussion, Councilor Bearable.
Yeah, am I reading this wrong in the resolution? It's a different amount than the, yeah, it should be the 16.5, right? 16,000,005?
Yeah, the resolution should say bid pack 2, guaranteed maximum price of $16,538,695.60.
So we need to correct that in the resolution?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So what we read here on the agenda item is the accurate amount. We need to make the change on the resolution. All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.5, Planning and Zoning meeting that was held on July 10th, 2020. Item 8.5 is to approve the variance for Rockstep, Virginia, LLC, 1401 12th Avenue South, 8.5A, a 390 square foot variance to the previously granted variance granted in year 2017 of 3,705 square feet in order to allow a total of 4,095 square feet of signage for the Rockstep, Virginia, LLC property. And this is signage that will be going right on the mall property for our new vendor that's moving in shortly. And it was moved and supported at committee level.
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Councilor Paulson to approve the variance from Planning and Zoning. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And these numbers are large because it's a large property on the highway. So this is just allowing the people who are renting or leasing to be visible. I think it's a good idea, and I'm guessing that as we move forward, there'll be more variance requests as the mall property is developed.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Johnson. Okay, and moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.6, approve the variance for Paul and Kathy Brinkman at 805 Fifth Avenue South. Item 8.6, the Planning and Zoning recommends under 8.6A to deny the 4.5-foot variance to the required 5-foot setback from a public alley in order to construct a new 24 by 24 garage 0.5 feet from the public alley. Item 8.6B, approve the 3-foot variance from the required 5-foot setback from a public alley in order to construct a new 24-foot by 24-foot garage 2 feet from the public alley. Item 8.6C, deny the 4.5-foot variance to the required 5-foot side yard setback the north property line in order to construct a new garage 0.5 feet from the north side yard property line. And item 8.6D, approve a 4-foot variance to the required 5-foot side yard setback, which is the north property line, in order to construct a new garage 1 foot from the north side yard property line. So,
I'll move to approve those variances, at least those that have been approved by the Planning and Zoning Committee up to this point.
moving to approve the recommendations by Planning and Zoning for the approval and the denial of the variance request. Do we need a clarification on that?
Yes, point of order. We don't have to approve the denials because the approvals were the compromise.
Okay.
So we just need to approve 8.6B and 8.6D.
Okay, so 8.6B and 8.6D is what's being recommended, and I think that was the motion that Councilor Freely made. Thank you for the clarification. Is there support?
All support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9.9, committee reports. 9.1, the Committee of the Whole meeting that was held on July 7th, 2020. And we'll turn this portion of the council meeting over to our City Administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. At the Committee of the Whole meeting held on July 7th, 2020, we discussed the easement request for the property that is immediately adjacent or right in front of the former Midway Motel. If we grant the easement request, it would allow access to the Bridgeview development site, which lies north of the Midway Motel. It was moved and supported to approve the city creating a 66-foot easement, which the city would retain ownership for, to allow access to the Bridgeview development site.
Thank you.
I will move approval of the 66-foot easement.
Move for approval by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
I'll support for discussion.
Support by Councilor Freely for discussion. Further discussion, Councilor Freely.
I just want to be assured that giving the easement then does not incur cost to the city for the access to be created for that development. That would be on the developer's cost?
We're just going to allow a public, it's basically, and Brian can jump in, on paper, we're going to draw a map showing that this is public right-of-way to this point that ends at the property line between us and them. So it'll be just a paper road going to their property.
But they're going to need a road put in there to access that property.
That is, at this time, not our responsibility.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So we're providing them the opportunity to do so, but we will not incur a cost for the development of that.
And it just so
road.
happens that the majority of the easement is paved because it's the parking lot, basically, for the Midway Motel. So the majority of it has already got a hard surface on there.
Okay,
If they want to improve it, that would be,
on them.
it's not in our plans to improve that anytime soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bearable.
Yeah, this just gives the developers an opportunity to bring potential clients into that area and let them know there's already an easement for a potential new road in the future there, so they aren't looking at an area that they can't have traffic going in for development of property.
Thank you. Moved and supported. Further discussion. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And we've been, in our meetings, we've been told that the reason they can't find tenants is because there's no access. So this is the city being supportive and saying, yes, we want you to develop that. Yes, we want to see something happen there. So we're hoping that will be the last stumbling block for the owner of the property to move forward and put something of value in that area.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Johnson. Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matt Reed of SEH gave an update on the feasibility report that we had in SEH draft for the 2021-2023 Street and Infrastructure Improvements Program, especially Phase 1. The report identifies the streets that were previously approved for improvement and recommends accepting the study. It was moved and supported to approve the resolution receiving the feasibility report and calling for a public hearing on local improvement project for the 2021 Street Improvement Project Phase 1.
Councilor Bearable.
Also make that motion on accepting the feasibility study for the first phase of the street construction projects.
Moved by Councilor Bearable. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bearable.
Yeah, just one point of discussion. We now have initiated the first phase, but because of the COVID-19, the public hearings, we're going to have to play those by ear for the members that live on these streets until we have availability to have full access for people to meet for the hearings on the feasibility, which includes assessments and what the street project actually is. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Bearable, for that additional information. And moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the posting of the part-time parking monitor position.
I will move the posting of the part-time parking monitor.
Moved by Councilor Johnson to post for the parking monitor position. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
It was recommended to adopt the resolution approving the 5-year worry-free service plan for the Zoll X Series ventilators in the amount of $7,105 per year for a 5-year term, and the 2-year extended warranty for the same Zoll X Series ventilators and the monitor system in the amount of $2,257.50 for 2 years.
And these are for clarification for our ambulance ALS service. Thank you.
I'll move to approve.
A move by Councilor Paulson to approve. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support.
Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to adopt a resolution for change order number 2 for the 418 pass-through park / library project. They're two projects, one name, in the amount of $2,145. And this change order was the result of finding an old foundation right underneath the sidewalk, right next to the sidewalk, right in the way of our new project.
Very good. Thank you. Councilor Johnson.
I will move the change order.
Councilor Johnson moves to adopt the resolution to approve the change order number 2 for the 418 pass-through park in the amount of $2,145. Is there support?
I'll support, but just quick discussion. if I
Support by Councilor Freely. Further discussion, Councilor Freely.
Thank you, Mayor. So this additional 2145 is still covered under the grant that was provided to make this happen? Or is this gonna come out of our own pocket?
So far, we're okay.
Okay.
So as long as everything stays where we're still in contingency, so we're still okay at the
Good.
moment. Yep. And they're 90% done, Brian?
I'd say probably about 80% done.
So I don't anticipate a lot of further changes coming forward.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is just when we used to tear down buildings, we used to leave stuff in the ground, and so if any older buildings, this will happen, but as we move forward in the new tear down, the new regulations, everything comes out and gets filled in. So that's why this particular change order happened, is because the way we do things has changed.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
I have something, Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Paulson.
Thank you. I was approached actually by two different individuals regarding I guess they're calling it the pocket park where the Marty mural is. And they're needing some paint and some additional things to improve that location. And I'm just, this has nothing to do with the pass-through parks and the other one, but if we could maybe have that be addressed at the next committee meeting.
Yeah, and I think just to give you some additional information regarding that before we vote on this other project, we have been in contact with the Senior Citizen Center. This is a project that they've wanted for the last year or so. They finally picked out a paint color. They agreed to provide the paint. They're just looking for some laborers in which to do that. We don't have any part-time personnel to do that. However, there's a group of citizens that are going to want to get together and get permission, from the city, as long as we do the proper protocols, and to put a group of people together and paint and take care of that little park there next to the Senior Citizen Center. But we can move that to the committee of the whole for additional discussion, Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on the pocket park? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Roll call, please, Pam.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear.
Beyondich?
I say no on.
Beyondich? Okay. Paulson?
Yes.
Baranzelli?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Cuffey?
Aye. Motion passes 6-1. Thank you.
Thank you. It was moved to approve entering into another MOU with the IAFF, the Firefighters Union, to allow for a 6-month extension for the certification required for the CPAT, the Certified Physical Test for the paramedic licensure.
And this normally is something that's done on a periodic basis and a regular basis based on the requirements set forth in order to provide the services of emergency services. But because of COVID-19, these testing processes have been delayed, and they're just looking at it as an extension in order to get their certification. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Motion?
I will so move, Mayor, the extension with the MOU on the, what's it called here, the CPAP certification.
Moved by Councilor Baraboo and supported by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to proceed with the request from Holy Spirit Church for transfer of the ownership of the property for the former Strom Thielen property on the corner of 3rd Avenue and 2nd Street South.
Okay, thank you.
Approve.
I'm sorry. Which one? Who is that?
Councilor Paulson?
Councilor Paulson moves to approve. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to appoint a committee of the city administrator and the mayor, and I do believe the attorney was also involved, to operate as the parameters that were set in the closed meeting regarding the purchase of property owned by Our Savior's Lutheran Church.
I will move the appointment of the mayor, city attorney, and city administrator for the purchase.
Moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
I better stay out since I'm still a member of the church.
I'll support.
support by Councilor Freely. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
That is all I have from that meeting. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. So we'll move to item 10, which is the Commission Liaison and Department Head Reports. Let's start with the Department Head Reports first. Pam, I think you have something you'd like to address the council and the public about.
Yes, due to the primary election, I'd like to change the meeting time on August 11th to earlier, 4 o'clock, 4:30, whatever you choose.
Sure, we can meet after
We have
6
to be
p.m.,
done
right?
by
It's
6.
primary day. So you're requesting that we move the city council meeting to 4 o'clock
Sure.
or a different day. So I'm good with 4 o'clock on Tuesday, August the 14th, is it?
August the 14th, yeah.
Okay, so any other council have a conflict with 4 o'clock on August the 14th for the council meeting to accommodate the law with respect to primary day?
Tuesday is the 11th,
Was it the 11th?
according to my calendar.
Is it the 11th, Pam, or the 14th?
It's on
I
an
thought it was
evening.
the 4th.
We have an evening meeting.
Or the 11th, sorry, today's the 14th, that's where I'm getting mixed up.
Okay, thank you, Councilor
11th.
Freely. It's the 11th, Tuesday, August 11th.
11th.
At 4
At 4.
o'clock. It is, every councilor have a conflict? Councilor Johnson?
I was just going to move to change the meeting time to 4 o'clock on the 11th.
Okay, it's moved by Councilor Johnson to move the meeting time for the council meeting from, on Tuesday, August 11th, from 5:30 to 4 o'clock. Is there support?
All support.
Support by Councilor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the our city councilors. Does any city councilor have a report they'd like to give this evening? Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I will point out that Parks and Rec was able to put up a brand-new playground in a day today at Pine Mill Court. It's pretty amazing. So we have some really hardworking staff. So Brian, kudos to you and your staff. And that's a long-needed playground over there. I used to work at the daycare facility 10-ish years ago, and it was needed then. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Johnson, and I think we all want, and we'll do this in a formal manner as well. I'll give a shout out to our police department and our fire department for the quick response and the action and actually really saved City Hall from more damage than we received already. The quick response by the police department in order to try to contain that fire, and the immediate notification of our fire department was on the scene within a couple of minutes. And because the fire door was from the garage was starting to get compromised, it did hold, but it was as a direct result of the actions by our public safety personnel. So kudos to them. And then another just a thanks and just a recognition that you hear throughout this country about law enforcement and police. And all these issues, and to leave the political father out of it, just to recognize that our police department does an outstanding job. And as an example, there was a fire up on North Side on the 11th Street North. I think it was in the 700 block. And thank you to a neighbor, and quick response by the police officers there. Grabbed a ladder from the neighbor, climbed up in the second floor where there was flames all over the house, and rescuing 3 people. I think there were 3 people from that building. So, you know, when people think that the police are just driving around, this is one example of many examples that police departments all over the United States, in particular in this city of Virginia, the professionalism that's displayed in the life-saving measures, and they do this because it's in their heart to do good public work. So good public service, and they set the fear aside, and they do what needs to be done to save lives. So Councilor Bearable.
Mayor, I'd like to add on to that. I'm going to tonight go on record 100% that I back our police department. This committee, we will never, as long as I'm a councilor, do anything to make a detriment to our police department in this city by messing around with what they do on such a day-to-day accurate basis in this community for the safety and well-being of our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else that to come before the council meeting tonight?
Mayor?
Yes,
This is
Councilor
Councilor
Paulson.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to bring to attention one item, if I may, and I didn't want to interrupt before, but under 9.1A, just below that, where Ms. Jean Mackey had come in and talked to the committee of the whole, I just wanted to follow up with that I did have another conversation with Ms. Mackey, and maybe one other suggestion as staff kind of develops a plan, or if that can be a feasible plan for handicap. One plan that we thought might work would be to put, like in the middle of the block, maybe a 10-minute pickup space on the slant so they wouldn't have to parallel park. So just as we're going forward with that, I just wanted to make a note that I did have another conversation, and that was another idea brought forth, so that they could do curbside delivery if a handicap couldn't be put in the middle, that it would be just like a pickup drop-off spot.
Sure. Thank you. I think we'll be discussing that at the community hall meeting. That's one of the ideas. I think there's a state law that indicates you can put a 10-minute sign up there for pick up and drop off. But I think under the law, if you have a handicap sticker on your vehicle, you can park there whatever you need in which to do so. So, but we'll discuss that further at the community hall meeting. And thanks, Councilor Paulson, for bringing that up.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
I'd just be happy to report that after our last fire, this should be our last week at the miners. We should be back to our city hall next week, and city hall should be open Monday. Should be happily back in our offices and our places,
Well,
with our smiling faces.
yeah. And we will have for the general public later on down the road and all the questions about what is this going to cost, what are the estimates, and we'll know, but it's a long, arduous process, and we're trying to get the figures together. And once we know, we'll let the public know. So thank you very much. So nothing more to come before the council this evening. We will stand adjourned to our next council meeting, which will be on Tuesday, July 28th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for a great week. Be safe. We stand adjourned.